Hi, it's Therese from Lostinpaper, and I'm back with my second video today, sharing a card made as guest designer for Gerda Steiner Designs using the Valentine Penguins stamp set. I've actually already done a video showing how I coloured this set of images. I've stamped and masked them out, these cute little penguins, in the same scene. And in the first video I actually coloured them with Copic markers on some white cardstock. This time I'm colouring the same images but with some Prismacolor pencils, and I have changed it up a little bit. I did stamp these images out with onyx black ink because I'm colouring with Prismacolor pencils and they work really well with this black ink, and it's a nice fast drying pigment ink, and it's good on coloured cardstock or cardstock that's not perfectly even. So if you have a close look at this cardstock or at this card, if you have a look in the pictures at the end, or even head over to my blog, the link will be below, you'll see that there is a slight texture to the cardstock. It's an American Crafts, I've forgotten the name, it's a really pale blue cardstock, so I am working on the smooth side, but even the smooth side has like a slight texture, so I am kind of having to work the pencils into the grooves a little bit, although I'm not pressing hard, because once you fill the tooth of the cardstock it won't accept any more pencils, so then it will just pill up and be a pain in the neck. Anyway, I did colour the penguins in a similar colour as I did to the other card, and then because it's on the blue cardstock I did decide to come in and use the white pencil on the actual body of the penguins. The thing also with Prismacolor pencils is they do cause a bloom, and when you've stamped an image sometimes it will kind of cover over the edges or the eyes if you accidentally colour over them. And a way to get around that, which I do a little bit later on, I'm not sure, I don't think I shared it in the video, is I just come back with either a black multi-liner, or in this case I actually used a black pencil just to redraw the eyes and the eyebrows, things like that that got might have lost a little bit of definition. I'm having trouble speaking. Okay, I don't like to use Gamsol or any blending agents on coloured cardstock. I don't tend to find that they work really well. I usually just use the pencils to blend with each other, so I usually go back and forth with my pencils, just using them lightly, and add the colour that way. Just in case you haven't noticed, I have got a little piece of cardstock off to the side. It's the same colour that I'm working on, and what I'm doing here is actually testing my colours before I add them, because they do react differently than if I was just using them on white cardstock. So it's a good idea just to test your pencils off to the side on the same colour cardstock. I'm keeping a nice sharp pencil as well, just so I can try not to end up with any bloom or too much bloom over the edges of these images. I will list all the colours that I've used today over at my blog, and I'm also going to link below this video to the other video that I created using this same set of images but colouring them with Copics. Now I did kind of colour this balloon in a real sort of pale blue and white colour. I don't know, in retrospect I was kind of thinking maybe a nice bright pink balloon might have looked nicer or stood out a bit more, so I'm not sure if you noticed at the end of the video I did make this balloon a little bit of a bit brighter blue, but it's still a fairly light balloon. But if I was to remake this card I probably would do it in a nice bright pink. I'm thinking. I've got my Copic multi-liner out and I'm actually drawing a kind of a rough ground here with some stones. It's not complicated, it really is just squiggles and circles. And that just grounds my images. I just use some of the cooler greys to actually add some greys to that base as well, and I want this to be a little sort of a surprise card and like a party card. So this is where it's changing up from the other card as well. I decided to add some bits of confetti and just chosen some nice bright colours that worked really well on the blue cardstock, and just hand drawing lots of confetti and streamers and dots and such all over the design, making sure that I draw some over the images as well. And that's probably why I really couldn't come in and colour that balloon in at the end, because I had drawn some of the streamers over top of that and I didn't want to sort of muck those up because they're not blended. I just thought, well, it'd be easier just to leave it as it is. But if I did do it again, it would be hot pink. Decisions made. Gerda Steiner really has some of the most cute critters, and they're really they're really easy images to colour and fun to put together on cards. I've used heaps of the critters over the last 12 months in particular, and every time I colour them up they just make me smile. And especially when it's a nice little party scene like this. Oh, I'm not sure if you noticed, but on the ground there where I drew the confetti and streamers, I did draw them on the side like they were lying down, whereas the ones in the sky were sort of straight up and down, like they were floating. And of course these hearts did make pink. I really like how this colour turned out on the actual blue cardstock. And you know, maybe I could have actually just re-stamped the balloon and adhered it over top. That's another way. If you do make a mistake or you're not happy with something, that's a really easy way of fixing it. Now I've made this a landscape card as well, and just used some ATG behind the panel and just attaching that to it's a top fold landscape. And I thought it'd be fun to add some Prismacolor, which is a really fine glitter. So I've got my quickie glue pen and adding some small dots all over the front of the card where the confetti is and where the penguins are as well. I thought it'd be heaps of fun. The thing with the Prismacolor is it's very clingy, so what I like to do is actually wait for it to dry, and then I just use like a really soft paintbrush, you know, like the you know, the really kind of fluffy ones, and you can just, once it's dry, I can just brush away any of the excess Prismacolor. The sentiment today comes from the Your Koalified stamp set, and I've just stamped a hot pink surprise and cut it out with a speech bubble. And that's my finished card for today. Thanks so much for joining me. It's been heaps of fun. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.